Who is weighing in before a big city meeting on that issue later tonight? And almost a year to the date of the one that shocked us all, the Dallas Mavericks make another blockbuster trade. Anthony Davis is not the only Mav who is now gone. But what may come next has the basketball world talking today. We got a lot to get to. Welcome in, CBS News Texas, 5 o'clock. I'm Doug Dunbar. We're going to begin with the obvious, and that's that developing story out of Dallas County today. An armored truck guard simply doing his job. Now he is fighting for his life this afternoon after being shot right outside a Balk Springs bank. We've got live team coverage for you today. Been all over the story. Where it all happened this morning, that's where we're going to begin. Our Steve Pickett will start our coverage. What's the latest there? Any arrests?
No arrest at all. This now is a investigation led by the FBI. They have been here most of the day, Doug. As you mentioned, that individual who was shot still listed in critical condition. A security guard for Loomis that provides the delivery of cash or takes cash out of these places all day, every day. Every indication we have, according to authorities, is that this individual never went inside this bank. Instead, the focal point was here behind me at these ATMs. They believe someone was lying in wait and then attacked. This is a recording obtained by CBS News Texas showing the suspect running 1 block from that crime scene. You can see his face is covered. He's wearing gloves. That bag is similar to the ones used to carry large sums of cash for bank delivery or pickup. FBI crime scene specialists cover the ATM drive-through area where that suspect is accused of robbing, then critically shooting an armored security transport worker. 3 women nearby found that victim on the ground bleeding, his weapon lying next to him.
Once I saw that, I started crying because, it gets real sentimental. Like, what if it happens to you, right? I hope somebody helps me if I'm in that situation.
It was just after 8:30 this morning, steps from the Chase Bank branch office entrance. Officials saying that gunman, still on the loose, never approached the bank entrance. The crime centered around the armored truck, the operator of that truck, and the ATMs.
If anybody has any information about the individual that committed this horrific incident, please let us know. Right now, what we know is one individual, no description at this time, committed this robbery and attempted murder.
This was an extensive search all around this area for this suspect because at first glance he left here on foot. No indication that he was transported out, went to a specific car. Police, FBI authorities not giving us any indication that that happened. And that hunt, that search continues at this hour. Reporting live, Steve Pickett, CBS News, Texas.
Steve, we thank you very much. So now, obviously, suspects still on the run. The Balk Springs community is on edge tonight. And you could imagine why, trying to keep an eye out for one another as best they can. Briseda Holguin, I know you've been talking to neighbors today. Is there angst in the community?
Doug, there truly is. Neighbors I talked with say they are scared. They're worried because of what happened just a block away, a short distance where that bank is located. Now, when talking to me, they asked to remain anonymous for their own safety.
I heard helicopters, and that's kind of what caught my attention. I heard 3 helicopters roaming around. It was just so much and going over and over.
Just after 8:30 this morning, people who live near the Chase Bank saw and heard all of the police activity.
My concern is that I have my family here, and I really don't like things like that happening here. But I'm a realist. It does happen. So.
The suspect was caught on surveillance video leaving the scene. One neighbor believes she might have seen them.
There was a guy going that way, but he was in a hurry, and I thought he had missed the bus because I saw a backpack.
Neighbors say they will stay vigilant and hope police are able to catch the suspect quickly.
Yeah, that's honestly kind of scary because it's so close to home. And we don't know if he could be in the neighborhood, in one of the houses here, or hiding. I mean, there is construction sites as well.
Once again, neighbors just simply shocked by the fact that this happened just a short walk away, and say they want police to release more details about that suspect so he is quickly caught. For now, reporting live, Briseida Holguin, CBS News, Texas.
And you can certainly understand so many people being scared right now. We don't know what this guy can do next. Briseida, thanks. Continue to follow this still developing story through this night. Latest updates always on the website, of course, at cbsnewstexas.com. Other things happening right now. What is still basically a rumor has a small Dallas County city rattled for good reason. It has the attention of state lawmakers now. Ken Molestina is in the newsroom, and you're watching a gathering in Hutchins that I understand got underway just a few minutes ago, right?
Yeah, just a little bit ago, Doug. So we're talking about multiple elected leaders. You can see them there. They are in Hutchins speaking out against what people are rumoring is a proposed mega immigration detention facility there. They just began speaking, so let's go ahead and have a listen.
A community made of mostly people of color, of working families who chose this area to improve the outcomes for their children and their families. If you heard the testimony just this week, we had residents saying, why even focus on an ICE facility when we don't even have a good grocery store here? When we talk about how to improve our community and our neighborhoods, this is not it. The people here, not only do they not believe in having something like this in the community, they don't believe in what's going on across this country with ICE. So I am saying we are here together to figure this out, to protect this community, to protect the people of Texas and the people of this country. We are saying no to ICE.
All right, so let's come back here from this and talk.
Representatives, you'll hear from folks who care deeply about the residents because they lead the organizations that talk to the residents. You'll hear why it's so important for us to rally together against this. Next, you will hear from my colleague in the House of Representatives, Representative Linda Garcia.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. I want to start by saying something very clearly. This detention center was not asked for by the people of Hutchins. It was not requested by the mayor, and it was not approved by the city council. This proposal did not come from this community. It came to this community, and that matters. Because what we have seen in Hutchins is not chaos or division. We have seen democracy. We have seen residents show up to their city council meetings. We have seen neighbors speak for themselves. We have seen leaders, small business owners, parents, and elders stand up and say, this is not who we are. This is not what we want our city to become. One person who attended the recent Hutchins City Council meeting described it as something rare, a room full of neighbors, a homemade sign, a local council, and a community speaking for itself. This is not obstruction, this is civic participation. This is the heart of democracy. And let's be honest about what is being proposed. This is not a small facility. This is not a temporary site. This is a plan to warehouse up to 9,500 human beings, more people than currently live in the city of Hutchins. This facility would double the population of this city overnight without doubling its water supply, without doubling its emergency services, and without any guarantee of safety, oversight, or accountability. This city of Hutchins did not seek this project, and the city of Hutchins has made it clear it does not support it. So today I want to say thank you directly to the mayor and the city council. Thank you. Thank you for listening to your residents. Thank you for standing with your community. Thank you for insisting on transparency. At a time when too many decisions are being made behind closed doors, Hutchins chose to make its voice public. And let me be clear, opposing this facility does not mean you are anti-law, it does not mean you are anti-safety, and it does not mean you are anti-America. It means you are pro-community. It means you are pro-accountability and pro-human dignity. We should never accept the idea that a small working class city should be forced to host the largest detention center in the nation against its will. Hutchins has said, "We did not choose this. We do not want this, and we deserve to be heard." As a state representative, I stand with the people of Hutchins. We stand with the mayor. We stand with the city council. And we stand with every resident who has showed up to speak for their city. This is what democracy looks like. Not a warehouse imposed on a town, but a town standing up for itself. Thank you.
Next is my colleague, Representative Cassandra Garcia Hernandez.
Thank you so much, Representative Aisha Davis, and thank you so much for bringing us all together for this. Good evening, everyone. My name is Cassandra Garcia Hernandez. I'm a state representative for the state of Texas, and I represent House District 115, which is in the northwest corner of Dallas County. I have an honor to represent not only my district, but so many of us here in the state of Texas, along with my colleagues. There's nowhere else I'd rather be right now than standing in solidarity with my colleagues, as well as our leaders, both in the community as well as in Dallas County, against allowing this massive ICE detention center to be set up here in Dallas County, in our Dallas County, in the city of Hutchins. The city doesn't want this here. It's clear the community doesn't want this here, and we don't want this here. There are so many reasons of why this particular facility should not be here in the city of Hutchins, and we saw that during the hearing on Monday. They don't have the infrastructure to be able to support this facility. This facility was not built and created for the type of use and to house individuals with dignity and respect. In addition to that, there was no transparency or even the ability for the city and the residents to weigh in on the fact of this facility to be put here in Hutchins. In addition to that, just last Friday, me and some of my colleagues went to Prairieland to go visit another individual who is unjustly being incarcerated at that detention center. And even though my colleague, Representative Bojani, had an actual appointment and permission to meet with that individual, they did not allow him in. And this is something that us, not only in the state of Texas, but all over the country are seeing, where duly elected officials, us, who have a responsibility to look out for not only our constituents, but for the people who are within the walls of our state, are being treated with dignity and respect, are being denied access to go into those facilities and make sure that that is in fact being done. So they lack transparency and oversight. In addition to that, this doesn't make our community safer. Just like my colleague said, this has never been, and at this point I think we can all agree, this isn't about public safety. This is about cruelty at this point. As one of the few legislators who actually practices immigration law, I want to discuss what the real issue is here. This isn't, like I said, about public safety. It's purely about cruelty. Our local law enforcement, and I'm sure my colleagues can attest to this, our local law enforcement, our men and women who go out and serve us day in and day out, themselves do not like the actions that ICE has taken. It has eroded trust within our communities. It has made people afraid to call and to reach out to our police officers when something is going on. That doesn't make us safer. It makes their jobs more tough, and it also ruins the relationships that so many of them have built for quite some time. What ICE is doing is the opposite of making our communities safe. We have a lawless agency, an agency that's snatching up LPRs, which are also green card holders, DACA recipients, people with protected status, asylum, refugees, children, people with special needs, people with no criminal history. We know that now. Majority of these people being housed in these detention centers do not even have a criminal history. And in addition to that, even U.S. citizens are being housed in these facilities. They're disappearing these people into the facilities without letting their families know what is happening, without letting their children know that their parents have been taken while they're at school. They're taking them from school lines, when they're headed to work, when they're headed to doctor appointments, when they're good faith checking in at their immigration appointments, while they're protesting injustices in our country and abroad, or even worse, they're murdering them. So why would we, our community, Dallas County, Texans, Americans, be okay with these facilities to continue to grow in our communities? That doesn't make sense. But make no mistake, this rot goes to the top. It is incumbent on all of us as leaders, as community members, as decent human beings to say no more. We have a moral obligation to speak up, stand up, and do anything and everything in our power to stop what's going on in our country.
Now we will have Jasmine Flores with Commissioner Elba Garcia.
Thank you, Rep. Good afternoon. Commissioner Elba Garcia wishes she could stand here with us today, but due to a prior commitment that she wasn't able to reschedule, she is not here, but I am here to make sure that we read a statement that she put out earlier this week in opposition of this ICE detention facility being proposed in the city of Hutchins. Dallas County Commissioner Elba Garcia stands in firm opposition to the proposed Immigration and Customs ICE detention facility in Hutchins, Texas, a project that would detain up to 9,500 people and become the largest ICE detention center in the United States. Dallas County is a place of opportunity, not a place of incarceration or a dumping ground for policies that tear families apart. Amen. Our community is built by immigrants, by working families, and by people who came here seeking safety, dignity, and a better life. We refuse to allow our neighbors to be treated as disposable or to have their lives reduced to a number in a detention system. Across the country, ICE operations have been marked by warrantless arrests, lack of due process, prolonged detention, and separation of children and families. These practices undermined constitutional protections and basic human rights. No one should be detained without judicial oversight or meaningful access to legal counsel. That is not justice, that is abuse of power. This proposed facility would also create a severe local infrastructure crisis. Hutchins currently has a population of less than 8,000 residents, and as was stated before, a detention center housing up to 9,500 people would increase the population by over 100% overnight. Overwhelming water systems, sewer capacity, emergency services, roads, and public safety. City leadership has already raised serious concerns that the infrastructure does not exist to support this facility here. This plan puts detained individuals, workers, and the surrounding community at risk. It is not only inhumane, it is reckless. Dallas County is one of the most diverse regions in Texas, with Latino and immigrant communities forming the backbone of our economy, culture, and civic life. From healthcare and construction to small businesses and education, immigrants and their families make our country stronger every day. We are a welcoming community, not a detention zone. ICE's current operations do not reflect Dallas County's values. We believe in keeping families together, protecting due process, and investing in people, not in cages and mass incarceration. Commissioner Garcia's office will continue working with local and community leaders, faith organizations, advocacy groups, and residents across Dallas County to oppose this facility and defend the dignity, safety, and human rights of everyone who calls this county home. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will have Reverend Dr. George Mason with CLEAR.
Thank you. I am pleased to stand here and speak on behalf of my colleagues who are gathering round, some of them with collars, some of them with stoles, all of them with hearts that are breaking over what's happening in our communities, in our country. We have been holding vigils at the ICE field office on Monday mornings since May. We have been praying, we've been protesting, we've been trying to be physically present to say, we believe this is wrong. Since October, we have joined with community organizers to provide pastoral care and support for migrants who are going in to the Dallas field office, following the law, doing what they're supposed to do in order to do their check-ins, 80% or so of them not coming out again. One day, I was walking a woman up the driveway to enter the field office. She was afraid, she was in tears, and she stopped and turned to me and she said, "Why are they doing this to us?" What would you answer if she asked you that question? Brian Stevenson, the civil rights lawyer, says that we don't really understand unless we are proximate to pain. We have to put ourselves in a position to know what people are experiencing and follow the tears. There are too many tears in our society right now over what's happening with ICE enforcement. There's a saying in the Latina community, a word. The word is cebrayas, and it means leftovers. It means disposable people. It means people who are treated as if they don't belong. Injustice in the Latino community is displacement, a feeling that there is nowhere that they belong. And what I want to say to people of faith especially, you've heard the opposition to this warehouse that's designed for packages, not people. Right? But there's something more important, and that is the people themselves. People of faith need to be on the side of humanity. When the state is on the side of elevating humanity, we support the state. When the state demeans people and demonizes them, we dissent. We will show up, we will stand up, and we will speak up for every human being to be treated with dignity. If this country wants to believe that it is a beacon of freedom to the world, then it has to prove it. And right now, proving it means how we treat our immigrant neighbors in this country. It's time for us to have a reckoning about this, and we're here to say we love our neighbor, and we want to urge everyone to consider every policy in light of that universal command in all of our religions. Thank you very much.
I do also want to recognize that we do have state and local leadership from the NAACP here as well today. I would like to recognize state and national leadership from LULAC.
We do have our National Legal Advisor, Eric Cedillo from Dallas, Texas. My name is Roman Palomares, and I am the LULAC National President and Chairman of the Board. We are the largest and oldest Latino civil rights organization in the United States with 650,000 members in 44 states and Puerto Rico. We stand in unity before you, leaders and stakeholders from all walks of life. This detention center is not a development project. This is a civil rights issue. Yes. It threatens the soul of this community and demands that we speak out. Many people in this community are of one voice in saying Hutchins does not consent to becoming a detention town or what we call a concentration camp. Everyone needs to know that this is about civil rights and due process. Detaining asylum seekers without meaningful due process violates the Constitution. We all know that. It undermines the basic promise of equal justice under the law. A project like this goes against all our spiritual values. Our faith teaches us to welcome the stranger, protect the vulnerable, and defend human dignity, not to warehouse human beings behind fences and guards. This project touches every part of Hutchins. This facility will strain schools, emergency services, and local resources, and offer no real benefit to the families who live and work here in Hutchins. Here's the economic reality. This facility will strain schools, emergency services, local resources, and offer no real benefit to the families who live and work here. Here's the economic reality. Detention centers do not build healthy economies. Instead, they depress growth, label communities as concentration camps, and lock residents into long-term harm. This is not who we are as Americans, as Texans, or as people of conscience. Freedom and fairness define us, not to confinement and fear. Think of the children and the families. Our children deserve schools, opportunity, and hope, not razor wire and buses filled with people treated like criminals for seeking safety. This proposed detention center crosses a moral line in the sand. Hutchins must not be turned into a symbol that dehumanizes people. We, as LULAC, draw the line here in defense of human rights and moral decency. Our call to action is clear and simple. We call on all Texans and Americans of conscience to contact their elected leaders and demand humane, lawful, and justice immigration solutions, not detention. LULAC says loud and clear, no to concentration camps in Hutchins, Texas. Thank you very much.
Hello all, my name is Eric Cedillo, and as Roman mentioned, I am the National Legal Advisor to LULAC. We are living in a different world, right? $45 billion has been allocated to infrastructure under the big, beautiful bill. $45 billion. That's close to $1 billion per state for new facilities. Imagine that. That's $10 million per facility times 100 per state. So the unfortunate reality of what we're dealing with here in Hutchins is across the country. This is going to continue to be happening. We in LULAC are a national organization, and we're seeing it in different parts of the country. This very thing, communities rising up and saying no to these facilities. The problem ultimately is they'll move to the next county, they'll move to the next part of town where they may be more accepted. The reality is we have to demand
that we reallocate that $45 billion in infrastructure to something else. Congress needs to act. We need to act. We need to show up in November. We need to express who we are at the ballot box and stop this outrage, this truly, truly inhumanitarian effort by this administration to bring us all down, not just the Latino community, but all of us who are having to witness this injustice. Kids are being picked up. There's almost 4,000 that are currently being detained. As we increase the numbers of facilities like this, we're going to see the numbers skyrocket. They've talked about 150 to 200,000 people in ICE detention facilities. That is more than the population of our federal prison system. Can you imagine that? We can't allow this to continue. And again, Hutchins doesn't want this. Our communities don't want this. We need to speak to Congress and stop this insanity. Thank you very much.
We will take any questions from the press. I will say from my perspective, I do represent this area as part of House District 109 and have not been contacted by anyone from DHS. We've been trying to figure out what's going on and contacting different folks from federal, state, local levels. We have not had any type of feedback or communication with them. And hopefully we will actually get some confirmation of something that's going on. But unfortunately, we have not had positive communication.
I just want to add that at the national level, our organization, I was in Minneapolis last week with the national president of the NAACP. We held a national press conference regarding detention centers, all that's going on with immigration. We are in contact with our Congress folks and also with our senators as much as we can. And they're aware of what's going on, and we make them aware of that. We're headed back to D.C. in a couple of weeks. But we have sent letters. I, last week, sent a letter to 100 senators demanding changes, and that's what they are discussing right now. You know, they've been funded for 10 days, okay? And we have made a list of demands from masks and badges and all kinds of stuff, and that's what's being discussed. We're hoping that within these next 10 days that Congress does the right thing and not provide any more funding and make sure that these requirements that we have kind of imposed or we want to impose on ICE is that they're taken seriously and that they do that. So we will continue. We are telling all our councils across the country to continue the pressure on these congressional folks. We cannot let up right now just because they said they're going to do this or that. We got to hold them to it, and that's what we're doing at LULAC. Thank you.
I wanted to follow up as well. I want people to understand that this is not the old DHS, USCIS, and ICE that we used to operate under. A lot of our agencies have changed. As somebody who practices in immigration law, I can tell you a lot of the folks that we used to deal with on a regular basis at ICE facilities, at USCIS field offices, these are not the same people that we used to work with. There has been a huge turnover because the atmosphere that is within these organizations have pushed out people who essentially were willing to look at people as people. And this is now the type of people that we are interacting with. And I can say that as well with our communication with our congressional members, certainly our Democratic congressional members, they are being met with silence from these agencies. So to what level that we continue to keep the pressure on our congressional members, of course, but we also need to recognize that, like I said, the rot goes to the top. This is something that we have to continue to keep pressuring all the way to the top of the administration, because that is where they're getting their marching orders.
That's a whole other thing.
Those are some of the conversations that are happening tonight. Of course, any building would have to have things like certificate of occupancy and things like that. So these discussions are better understanding all of the different, dynamics that are coming into play. And I think after tonight, they'll have a little more clarity.
Council members told you guys that they're going to be talking about like potential legal avenues?
No.